Good afternoon. Welcome to College Knowledge 304. Today's topics are going to include the NFL, the NIL, and what can be done about it to improve it. And we will be talking about the pro football a little bit and college basketball. All right. First, let's talk a little bit about college basketball. I just like to know what's happening to Kentucky this year. They're not playing very good at all, and they don't look like they're in sync. There's fans wanting the coach fired. There was a game against South Carolina where they actually threw out a fan because he held up a sign that said, "Please go to Texas." I thought that was pretty bad to throw him out of the game like that. They should have just took his sign. The fan, he could have been a lifetime supporter of the program and maybe don't like the direction of the program and how it's going and the coach. I mean, you look at Kentucky, they're one of the best programs ever in college basketball. And to really see what's happening, it's kind of upsetting. They've had a couple good wins lately, but they just don't seem like they're really that good of a team this year. And in fact, there's some G5 schools I think it would beat them. And it probably wouldn't even be that good of a matchup, to be honestly. I'm going to be talking about some good G5 schools here. Some G5 schools I see are doing good this year is Marshall, Louisiana, Southern Miss, FAU, Houston, Charleston, Kent State, and St. Mary's. I believe these teams, if they get into the tournament, they could get a good seed and upset some Power 5 schools. I seen a prediction from Stadium the other day. It had Marshall playing Duke. I believe that would actually be a really good game. If you look at Marshall compared to Duke, Marshall has size and shooters, and I believe it would be a really good game. If you look at FAU and maybe have them playing somebody like, I don't know, West Virginia or something, I believe FAU is going to go away with the win. They're a pretty good program right now, despite their facility. So, I think it's really exciting time in college basketball right now. Looking at the stadiums, and most of the arenas seem to be, the attendance are, over 6,000 people. So, it's a good thing. The NIL, the thing I don't like about it is, let's take the player from Florida example. Here was a player who was promised from the NIL like $13 million or something like that. And the coaches don't even know about it. The university don't even know about it. This is just an outside group who's wanting this player to come and play. Well, the deal, it fell through. They didn't make their promise. So the guy's wanting to transfer, which I don't blame him. But this NIL, it's really getting to be a mess. I mean, I think any money, it should have to go through the university. If you want to set up an NIL, then if you want to raise $20 million, all right, so you raise the $20 million, it goes to the university. The university has that money for the NIL to use for players. And I think that's how it should be. We shouldn't be seeing all this sitcom drama. There's enough drama in the world as there is. I think the NIL, it just needs to be done like that. It needs to go through the university. None of this super fan stuff and nonsense. So talking about pro football, we got some good matchups this week. Some of the matchups include the Bengals versus the Bills, the Chiefs versus the Jags, the Giants versus the Eagles, and the Cowboys versus the 49ers. Looking at the Bengals and the Bills game, I think that's going to be a pretty exciting game. I look for the Bills to pull away later in the game, though, especially when you're going to be doing some pass rushing against the Bengals. The Bengals are down 2 offensive linemen, and they're not going to be able to withstand the storm, I don't think. My prediction for that game is going to be 38-28, the Bills. And, you know, it's always hard to play in front of the Bills Mafia as well. And the Bills are due a Super Bowl. You know, they've never won a Super Bowl. Neither have the Bengals. But, yeah, the Bills are really hungry, I believe, for a Super Bowl right now. Looking at the Chiefs versus the Jags, I believe that the Chiefs are going to pull away. I don't look for it to be really that good of a game. I expect the game to be like 42-24. They'll get a couple garbage points later on in the game. The Chiefs are just too good for them. Jacksonville, they really don't belong in the playoffs right now. They on a hot streak. They got a lot going good for them forward, but they're not a Super Bowl caliber team at any means right now. But you never know. There could be an upset, but I don't expect it to be an upset. Giants versus the Eagles. This is another game I think it's not going to be that good. I believe the Eagles are going to just crush the Giants. Yeah, you got to go into Philadelphia. They're going to be fired up. That offense looks insane this year. And the Giants are just not going to be able to keep up. One thing that may keep the game close is, you know, the divisional rivalry and the hatred in that division. And, you know, maybe they'll be able to keep the game close for a little while. But I expect that game to be 28-14, Eagles. Looking at the Cowboys and the 49ers, I think this could be the game of the week. It's going to be a real fought, tough, competitive game. Looking at both teams, I don't see much separation from either team. I believe the Cowboys are going to just squeak by, though. The quarterback for the 49ers, he's been a proven quarterback, but, you know, he probably would have been a high draft pick if teams would have seen what he can do, because he's going to be a good quarterback in the future. But right now, I don't think he's quite ready, and I think the Cowboys will just squeak out a win. I'm going to say 31-28. I think it'll be the game of the week to watch, and I expect a lot of excitement in that game. So, not as much to talk about this week. There hasn't been a whole lot of college news. You know, we're getting into the transportal. Teams are going to be starting to announce their roster for football. It's really kind of a boring time to be a football fan, especially if you like college, because now the games are starting to wind down. You know, we only have 4 games this week, and next week we'll only have 2 games. And then after that, we won't have a game. It'll just be the Pro Bowl skills. I'm kind of excited to see what that's going to be all about, you know. Are they going to bring in QB competition? Are they going to be doing 40-yard dashes? You know, it's going to be exciting to see how that's going to be. And maybe it'll draw some excitement there. Because, to be honest, you know, the Pro Bowl, it wasn't really that fun to watch them games. I mean, it turned into, you know, touch football, really. You know, somebody got touched. If they hug them, they blew the play dead. And a lot of times, you know, watching pros, watching college, sometimes people would break them tackles, and You know, that's what's fun about the game, is seeing amazing stuff like that happen. And the Pro Bowl, it really didn't live up to that. So then after that, we got the Super Bowl, February 12th. And I expect it to be a pretty good game. I think it's going to be the Bills versus the Cowboys, but we'll have to wait and see about that. You know, I would love to see Jacksonville get in, but like I said, I don't think it's going to be possible. It'll be a fun off season to see what all's going on. And there was a couple coach firings that was surprising. I seen the Buccaneers let go Brian Leftwich. Well, that just blew my mind when I seen that. This guy, he won the Super Bowl. It was like 2 years ago, and now they got a new head coach because the other coach pretty much retired. Well, the problem is the head coach, he wasn't that good of a coach to start off with. He got fired because he had a bad record before. And now he's doing it to the Buccaneers. I mean, that's where the firing should have been. Brian Leftwich should have been the head coach in the first place. Brian Leftwich is a great coach. Look what he's done with a 45-year-old quarterback. That was the craziest firing I've seen in quite some time. And if I was Brian, I would think about maybe going back, being a offensive coordinator at the college level for a year or something, because there could be a head coaching job within the next year or two at a program. And I think that he could go down as one of the best head coaches in college to ever play the game, ever coach the game. He's a great athlete. He's smart. He knows how to make people better. He's a leader. That's what a leader's supposed to be. Somebody who makes somebody better. Somebody who does the right thing, integrity. And I think Brian does all that. So that was kind of crazy. But yeah, I always like to leave the podcast on some positive notes. We've seen what college basketball is going to look like. It looks like it's going to be fun. And it looks like we're going to have some great games this weekend. And it's going to be a great Super Bowl. All right, everybody have a great afternoon.